started talking about a man. I want everybody to think of his name. It's not on the front here. It wasn't Jesus. It starts with the letter G. The G sound. G sound. Yeah. Yeah. Is the very first part of his name. Jasmine, do you remember? Yeah. No, not John. G sound. I'm going to ask him and then you, okay? What? No? Gideon. Gideon. Remember we talked about Gideon? That's what I said. It starts with a G and has a G sound. Alright, Gideon was the man. And Gideon, God chose Gideon to be something. What did he choose him to be? He chose him to be something that starts with a J and has a J sound at the beginning of it. You think you know now? No, Gideon was not Jesus. He chose Gideon to be something. To be a manager. Well, he probably did manage some things, but that doesn't start with a J sound. It's a J sound. I don't want Jayla to answer all the questions. So we'll let Jasmine try another one.
Judge?
A judge. Is that what you were saying? I thought I heard you say judge. Is it judge?
Yes.
It is judge. Remember the people of Israel? The people of Israel? God gave them things that they needed to do, and they would, after a while, they would start doing, what's this picture show us?
Push him away.
Push him away. Like, we want to do what we want to do, not what you want to tell us to do. Right? Do people still do that today? Yes. People still say, I want to do what I want to do. I don't want to do what God wants me to do. And what happens when people say to God, don't tell me what to do? What does God do? He does what? He gets, well, mad is probably not a good word. He gets angry. And then he does what? He sends judgment. He sends punishment, right? So this picture here reminds us that God sends judgment. And to the people of Israel, how did God judge the people of Israel? What did God do to judge the people of Israel? Do you remember? Do you think you remember? What? Huh? Clouds? Well, it was worse than clouds. Ashley, do you think you remember? Lightning? No. No, this is just he judged them. He sent
something.
Yeah, he did send something.
He sent he sent God.
They pushed God away, and then he judged them by sending their enemies.
Yeah. Their enemies to steal all their food.
To steal all their food.
And he had just a little bit of food.
Right, okay. So we're going to get there. So God would send their enemies, and they would put them in slavery and steal their food and do all that. And then the people of God, they would begin to realize that all this bad stuff happening to them was because they were sinning. And you know what? You think that if bad things happen to us now, probably we should think, am I sinning? Well, we don't. Sometimes bad things happen to people that aren't sinning. But if the bad things happen to us, we ought to think, am I doing what God wants me to do? Do I need to change something? And so the people would begin to pray and ask God for deliverance. And God would use a man, normally, he would use a man to deliver the people from their enemies. And that man, the Bible calls what? We said the word already. We said, what does the Bible call the man that would deliver the people of Israel? A leader? What was the word you said before? A judge. Right, so God would send a judge to deliver the people. Now, the Midianites had come into the land of Israel and taken their food for 7 years in a row, and God came to Gideon and told him that he wanted him to lead and deliver the people of Israel. Do you remember how God showed Gideon that how Gideon knew that it was God that told him? Remember? I said it last week because I remember saying it, but does anybody remember? How did Gideon know it was God that told him? Max, do you remember? What? How did he know?
The judge.
He wanted him to be a judge, but how did Gideon know that it was God that wanted him to be judge, and that it wasn't just some other? Remember, he was sitting there, and the man came to him and said, "You're the one that's going to deliver him." How did Gideon know? How did Gideon know? Do you remember?
He sent an angel now.
But how did he know he was an angel? A man, it was an angel, but he looked like any other man. Jayla, do you remember?
He disappeared.
He disappeared, but right before he disappeared, what did he do? Aiden? He touched the rock and fire came out of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That doesn't just happen.
That's how he knew it was.
That's how he knew it was from God.
Yeah.
Yes. And so then God told him to pull down the idol. Remember?
Yeah.
And he obeyed, and people heard about that, and he pulled down the idol, and now the Midianites came back into their land, and there was a lot of them. There was, listen to this, there was 135,000 Midianites. That is a lot. That's more than the whole city of Gary. 135,000 soldiers, Midianites, and they came, and what were they going to do? They were going to take all the Israelites' crops and steal some of their animals and just leave them with nothing. And Gideon knew that God told him, "You're supposed to deliver them." So Gideon said, he sent word out to all the country and said, "Come meet with me and we're going to fight against the Midianites." And you know, 32,000 Israelites came to fight against the Midianites. Now, Gideon was still kind of scared. And he thought, I wonder if God really wants me to do this. And so he went to God and he said, "God, I'm not sure about this." Now, should he have been sure?
Yes.
Yeah, God showed him, didn't he? But it had been maybe a couple of weeks or maybe a month, and he was like, "I'm not sure about this. So God, here's what I want. I'm going to take this blanket, and I'm going to put it outside. And I want, in the morning, I'm going to come back, and I would like all the ground around it to be dry, and I want the blanket to be wet. And then I'll know that it was you." Did he need to do that? No. Did God need to do what Gideon wanted him to do? No. But you know what? God was patient. And the next morning when Gideon went out, he reached down and got that blanket, and it was soaking wet. It was full of water. He could wring it out and got a whole bowl of water out of it, and all the ground around it was dry. You would think that Gideon would think, well, God did what I asked him to, so he must want me to be the leader. But Gideon was still scared. He was still scared. And so he said, "God, please don't be angry with me, but can you do it again tomorrow? But tomorrow, make it so all the ground is wet and the blanket is dry." Now, have you ever put a blanket down on something that's wet? Does it stay dry? No, it soaks it up. So that would be really, only God could do that. And so Gideon put his blanket out there, and the next morning he came out, and all the ground, he walked out there, his feet was getting all wet from all the water, and he picked up the blanket, and it was completely dry. He said, "Okay, God, now I know for sure." And so, how many soldiers did Gideon have with him? 32,000. How many Midianites how many Midianites were there? 135,000. So I want to just illustrate this. Let's see. Let's have Max, you come up here. Come up here, and you stand right here. Okay? And we're going to say Max is an Israelite. Okay? So if you're going to beat, if the Israelites are going to beat the Midianites, every single one of the Israelites is going to have to beat 4 Midianites. Okay? Alright, so let's see here. Let's have Astrid, you come over here. You can be a Midianite. Jayla, you can be a Midianite. Mason, you can be a Midianite. You want to be a Midianite? Okay, you can be a Midianite. Everyone else sit still. Okay, so just right here, just get in the line here, facing Max. No, yeah, come on, out here, like this. Okay, we're going to gang up on Max, right? There's 4 of you, and there's only 1 of Max. Who do you think is going to win this? Is it going to be Max or the 4?
Max.
Well, Max, could you beat all of them?
Yes.
Even if they were gang, you could beat them all?
Yeah, he has God with them.
I don't know. Well, you know what? That would be hard. But God came to Gideon. Let's see here. I'm not showing my pictures today, am I? I'm having too much fun talking. Let me show you pictures. Okay, what's Gideon doing here? He's wringing out his towel. Yep. Now, but God came to Gideon and said, Gideon, you have too many soldiers. Too many. Right now, if in order to win, every single one of my soldiers has to kill 4 of the enemy. God says, you have too many soldiers. I want you to go and tell the soldiers that if any of them are afraid, because we don't want anybody that's afraid. If any of them are afraid, they can go home. And so Gideon put word out in the army, and everybody that was afraid left. You know how many people left? 22,000. 22,000. So now there was only 10,000 Israelites and 135 Midianites. So, if that's the case, Max, the Israelite, is going to have to kill 13 or 14 Midianites. Okay, so we need some more Midianites up here. You want to be a Midianite? Come on, get up here. Midianite. Come on, do 3. You can be Midianite. Okay, that's 7. Alright, you can come up. 8, 9. No. That's 9. I need 4 more Midianites. Come on. Come on. Come here. Get in a big gang. There's a whole bunch of you. Get in a big group here. In a big group. Okay, we need some more Midianites. Come on. You're a Midianite. Lamar, come on. Be a Midianite. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I need 1 more at least. Come on. You're just going to see how hard it would have been? Okay, 1 against 13. 1 against 13, Max. Now, you might be able to get 4 at one time. Do you think you can get all 13 of these guys? I don't think so. I don't think so. Well, so there was 10,000 Israelites. And, okay, now you guys can all sit down because we need to show you something else. You know what? God came to Gideon. Max, you can even sit down. God came to Gideon and said, you still have, listen to this. Listen. He said, you still have too many. You have too many. And Gideon was thinking, every single one of my 10,000 is going to have to kill 13 or 14 Midianites, and I have too many. And God said, you have too many. If Israel beats the Midianites, they will think that they are strong, mighty soldiers. And I want them to know that I am their God and that I deliver them. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to send all the soldiers down to the creek to get some water. Okay? And you're going to watch and see how they drink water. Okay, now everybody look here. The people are drinking water. Can you see them drinking water? Okay, can you see? Yeah. Okay, see they're drinking water? Okay, now some of them are drinking one way, and then some of them were so thirsty, they just dove into the water and just drinking, sticking their head in the water. And the other ones, they are drinking like this. Why are they drinking like that? They could watch for the Midianites, right? Now I'm going to tell you, God said, those that were careful and were watching, they are your soldiers. And Gideon counted how many were watching, and there was only 300. 300. Gideon had 300. How many did the Midianites have? 135,000. So now, if Gideon's army is going to win, every single one of those 300 are going to have to kill 450 each. 450. Me against 450. Max, you got to kill 450. Okay? Every one of us 300, we got to kill 450 each. Can we do that? No. We can't do that. God wants them to know that they can't do it. Can't, doesn't he? Well, Gideon probably by now, he's getting a little scary. So God was going to give him a sign. God said, Gideon, I want you to sneak into the camp of the Midianites. Do it at dark. And I'm going to show you something there. So Gideon and his right-hand man, they went sneaking into the camp of the Midianites, and it was dark. And they got there, and all of a sudden they heard this fellow talking. And this guy, it was the middle of the night. You don't normally talk in the middle of the night, but he had just woke up. He woke up his friend and said, I just had the strangest dream. Have you ever had a strange dream?
Yeah.
He said, I just had the strangest dream. I dreamed that we were here in our camp, and a barley loaf, a loaf of bread, came tumbling down the mountain and hit our tent and knocked it over. Now, would a loaf of bread knock over a tent? No, that's a strange dream. But his partner said, you know what that means? That means that Gideon is going to come and destroy our army. Gideon heard that and thought, wow, God wanted me to hear that. These people think that I'm going to destroy their army. They're scared. He went back and he got his men and said, men, we got to go tonight. Here's what you're going to do. We take 100 of you and you go on that side. Take a long hike, but be very, very quiet. And another 100, you go over on that side. And we're going to be over here. And at the appointed time, this is what you're going to do. Everybody, get yourself a trumpet. And a torch. And a pitcher to put over top of the torch. A pot made out of clay. Okay, so they put the clay pots over their torch, and they had their trumpet. Where's their swords? Maybe they tied them to their side. I don't know, but they had a trumpet and a torch. And the torch, you couldn't even see the torch. And Gideon said, we're going to spread out, and when I give the signal, everybody's going to break the pot so they can see the torch, and they're going to blow with the trumpet, and they're going to say, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon. So they all got in place. Yep, they all got in place, and at the appointed time, Gideon broke his picture, and you could see it, and everybody else did the same thing. And what do you think the Midianites thought? They looked, and they saw torches all around their campground, and they heard the men yelling, the sword of the Lord and of Gideon! And they heard the trumpet sounding, and they got scared. They thought, whoa, Gideon is coming, and he's going to kill us. I'm going to get out of here. And they all went running, and they grabbed their sword, and you know what they started doing? They just started killing people. Did they kill any of Gideon's men? They killed each other. They said, get out of the way, get out of the way. And then it was dark, and they thought that the person that was their friend was really their enemy, and they started killing them. And Gideon's 300 men beat all 135,000. Did Gideon's men beat them? No. Gideon's men didn't beat them. Who did it? God did it, right? God gave them the victory, and God gave the people of Israel peace. Okay? He gave them peace with Him. He gave them peace, and they were able to gather their own crops, and nobody came along and stole their food or anything like that. And they had peace for 40 years. And now what do you think happened toward the end of those 40 years? Well, why more slavery?
Because they disobeyed God.
Yeah, they started thinking, where's our little thing? They started thinking, yeah, I don't really want to do what God wants me to do. But right now, in our story, Gideon was the hero. He delivered the people from the Midianites, and he ruled and judged the people of Israel for 40 years, and they had peace. And all because they did what God said. Was Gideon afraid?
No.
Well, he was afraid. Really? He was afraid. Sometimes we're afraid. Sometimes God tells us to do stuff, and we're like, I don't know if I want to do that. But can we know? What can we learn from Gideon? If God told us to do it, will He be with us?
Yes.
He will. He will help us. He will give us strength. All we have to do is obey. Sometimes it's hard to obey. Sometimes it's scary to obey. But if we obey, God will give us the victory. Right?